Hello and welcome to Teaching with Chad. My name is Jeff Lowman, and today the problem is class discussions. So we've been in this situation before, whether it's grade 2 or grade 12. You got a bunch of kids that are having a discussion, and it's really difficult for you as a teacher to track what's going on. So ideally, we would have 3 heads and 6 or 7 hands so that as the students are talking, we can take notes, we can assess them, we can find out what's being said in the discussion, the positives, the negatives, things like that. But that's impossible. Old school is not efficient because it's impossible to listen, write, give feedback, mark the students against a scoring guide, and then manage a classroom, because you know that even in a 5-minute discussion, there's going to be children that come up to you wanting the hall pass so that they can go to the bathroom. This is a digital solution. You need a couple of tools for this. One, which I've shown in other videos, is Google Notes. As you can see, everything I say shows up on my notepad. I have an instant transcript. So you're going to need that for this activity. You will also need the students to be able to identify themselves in the video by name. So whenever they speak in the discussion, they're going to say something like, "My name is Peter and I think." And then Peter will say what he thinks. And then you'll move on to the next student who will say, "My name is Susan and I think this." Okay, right now ChatGPT does not distinguish between who's talking. It's just trying to figure things out through context. So they need to put that marker there as a who's speaking. All right, and then all you're going to need after that is a prompt, which we'll go over in a second, the transcript, which you'll have on your phone, and a scoring guide with the desired results that you want to get from the students to demonstrate their learning. Here is a real-life situation that I'm using in class for my grade 11 Geo class. We are looking at sustainable tourism, and the case study we're looking at is a place called Koh Samui, which is in the Gulf of Thailand. And Koh Samui's undergoing a tremendous boom right now in tourism because the television show White Lotus was filmed there. So thousands of people want to replicate the experience by traveling to the same hotel, the same town, and there's a lot of pressure put on the natural environment of a very fragile ecosystem. What I did is I broke the students up into 2 different groups. One group is for movies to be filmed in Thailand to increase tourism, and the other one is against. So classic debate type situation. Now the kids started off with the voice dictation, all capturing everything they say, and their names mentioned on there as well, so it can create an accurate transcript. But what you'll notice here is of the actual transcript that the students came up with, they generated about 2,300 words in a 20-minute discussion. And if you were able to zoom in on this, it looks like gibberish. There's no punctuation. You see a lot of misspelled words. But that is okay, because with ChatGPT, Chad knows what to do. He can straighten it out pretty easily. This is the cleaned up transcript. And all I did is I put in a prompt. It said, clean up this transcript, add additional details, and improve the language structure. Now this actually makes the students look a lot more advanced than they actually are. So for example, Susan here was talking about the movie called The Beach. And within that response, she never said that The Beach was filmed in 2000, but Chad knows, because Chad knows everything, that The Beach was filmed in 2000 and added that detail there. Now the advantage of this is that it takes what the student already knows and then it will build upon that with more details. So when Susan would look through her notes, she would see something that enhances what she was originally saying in the discussion. Now again, this would be absolutely impossible if you're trying to do it the old school way, which makes this even more powerful of a tool that you should be using. Now to put it all together, go to ChatGPT and you're going to be pasting the command prompt and then the transcript, and after that, the scoring guide. This is what it looks like when it's in the box. Outside the box, the language can vary. It can be as what you'd like, because all classrooms are different, all students have different needs. How you want to have your scoring guide will change depending on students year after year. So this is just a basic template, and I urge you to alter it as you see fit. So I'm writing to Chad and saying, you are serving as the official judge of a DP geography debate on the following motion, as if it were the House of Parliament. This House believes that Thailand should ban film-induced tourism due to its negative environmental and social impacts. Okay, so there's the question. I put the point in there about the students identifying themselves, and that the role for Chad is to evaluate the debate based on the transcript and then the scoring guide as well. So here I made the scoring guide out of 30, and I also broke down who's on which team. Henry and Tiffany on one side, George, Susan, and Ahmed on the other. Okay, and then also Chad will declare a winner, because students always want to know if they've won their debate. And I also put in there that there would be a superstar debater, the student that most demonstrated effective argumentation and rebuttal in the presentation style. Okay, and then here's what I gave the students in advance, that they have to provide evidence and examples, that there should be clarity and structure to how they speak, that they need to have a rebuttal and an engagement, and persuasiveness and delivery, collaboration and teamwork. So they know that's the guide they're using, the goalposts are headed toward. And then the final line, please analyze the transcript that follows and complete the evaluation. So here we have Susan's dialogue again, and with Chad is taking a look and evaluating her work as well as everybody else's. So each student is awarded points for each criteria. An average is decided amongst the 5 students that I have, and then a winner is crowned. Now for the individual feedback, this is something that I send to the students individually by email and then also within their feedback file. And this will break down and show the evidence as to why they didn't get maximum points for particular areas on the scoring guide. Now you can make this as detailed as possible, but I would warn against using too much information because they can really be overwhelmed. So here we've got Susan's breakdown for her rebuttal and suggestions for improvement. Now what I find very important and maybe key to this activity is that you don't want the students just to accept what Chad had told them without any critical thinking. So after I give them the feedback, I speak with them personally and I say, how do you feel about this feedback? I called this the fight the robot portion of the lesson. And this is where they do see where there's unfair criticism, because Chad is not perfect. It misinterprets some of the speech that happens. And generally the students, they say, this is much better, probably better job than I can do. Now for the prompt, one thing I like to do is to put in a line in there asking for feedback, which would bring that student's work to the highest level. And then that is something they can work on. Once you have the transcript, you can do quite a bit with it if you're looking for other aspects of discussion skills. For example, if you have one student that does most of the talking and a few students that do no talking, you can break it down in a command prompt and say, according to the transcript, who spoke the most, total words, and as a percentage, create a pie chart. You can get the visual that way. You might have a discussion where people would always refer to the text or the video or another student, so you could have what other speaker in the discussion was cited the most. You could also look at, were there mistakes that were made in the information that was presented. In the discussion I did, there was one student who said that the Lord of the Rings was not good for tourism in New Zealand, which is obviously incorrect. Of course it was good. And the student was called out by Chad for that. And then maybe you had a mean-spirited debate where there was a student who was not kind to others. You could have a command prompt that would just say, who is the most polite? Give evidence. And this kind of makes it a little bit easier for some students that might not have the best argumental skills in a discussion, but they were kind, and they can get recognition for that. Or who is the least polite, and then give evidence. That's the Devil and the Angel Award. Thank you for watching. I would like for you to like and subscribe, and I'll send out some more videos up here coming towards the end of the school year. Hang in there, everybody, and hope to see you soon in the comment box.